So, welcome back, sir. In the last class, we have done with the free consent chapter. We'll revise free consent. Done. So, the free consent is covered by section 30 to 22. In section 13, we will define what is consent, 14, what is free consent, 15, coercion, 16, undue influence, 17, fraud, 18, 19, misrepresentation, 20, 21, 22 will be the mistake. First of all, what is the meaning of the consent? What is the meaning of the consent? Consent means acceptance. Consent means meeting of the minds. Consent means identity of the minds. Consent means similarity of the minds. Consent means similarity of the minds. Consent means agreeing the same thing in the same sense. इसको बोलते हैं in Latin में consensus ad idem. Consensus ad idem means identical thing in the mind of the offerer and offeree. In the consensus means similarity in the minds. Consensus means minds. Idem means identical. So agreeing the same thing in the same sense. Done beta. In the mind of the offerer, in the mind of the offeree, same thing should be there. इसको बोलते हैं consensus ad idem, or agreeing the same thing in the same sense. This was asked once in the exam. What does it mean? 1 2 times I beta. I will give one example. The same example came in the exam. For example, Shashi is there, Nikhil is there. Shashi is having two vehicles. One is the Jaguar, other one is the bench. Shashi always use the Jaguar. He never used the bench. So Shashi decided to sell his bench car. So Shashi is asking the Nikhil, will you purchase my car for 50 lakhs? Then beta. So Shashi is thinking to sell his bench car. So in the mind of the offerer, what is there? Bench. But Nikhil is thinking that Shashi is having only one car, that is the Jaguar, which he will use regularly. So Shashi is thinking he's giving the offer for the Jaguar. In the mind of the offerer, bench is there. In the mind of the offering, Jaguar is there. There is no meeting of the minds. It will be void ab initio, lack of consent. In the mind of the Shashi, bench is there. In the mind of the Nikhil also, bench is there. There is a meeting of the minds is there. Consent is there. Here no consent. Here consent is there. It will be void ab initio. It will be valid contracts. Yes or no, sir? Then the same question came in the exam 2-3 times. In the mind of the offerer, in the mind of the offering, same thing should be there. Then consent will be there. Meeting of the minds. They're agreeing the same vehicle in same sense. But here they're agreeing the different vehicles in different senses. That is not the consent. Then, so effect of the consent. Consent is there, no? It will be valid contract. Effect of lack of consent. If consent is not there, no, it will be void ab initio agreement. Salman described lack of consent as the error in consensus, because there is no meeting of the minds. Void ab initio. Then consent is there. This is the meaning of consent. Clear beta? Consent means acceptance. What is free consent? Free consent means acceptance. दिल से देना पड़ेगा. कैसे देना पड़ेगा? दिल से देना पड़ेगा. You have to give the consent out of your own wish, own will. खुद से स्वतंत्रंगा. Then if you're giving the consent because of the force, that is not a free consent. Consent is said to be free if the consent is not affected by coercion and influence, fraud, misrepresentation, mistake. Coercion is not there, fraud is not there, undue influence is not there, misrepresentation is there, mistake is not there, then it is a free consent. दिल से देना पड़ेगा. Then so we have done with the section 13 and 14. Consent to free consent. Then section 15. What is coercion? बेटा एग्जाम में आ रहा है बेटा, देखो डेट क्वेश्चन भी आ रहा है बेटा. What is coercion? He is asking in the exam बेटा. Coercion means committing an act forbidden by IPC. Forbidden means prohibited. Indian Penal Code said don't do this thing, but you're doing that thing. That is a coercion. Or threatening to commit an act forbidden by IPC. Committing an act forbidden by IPC. Forbidden means prohibited. Threatening to commit an act forbidden by IPC. धमकी दे रहा है बेटा. To do the things specified in the Indian Penal Code. Unlawful detaining of the property, kabja. Threatening to detain the property, unlawfully. कब्जा करता बोल के धमकी दे रहा बेटा. If any of these things are attracted, it is a coercion. Generally, it will involve physical pressure in general. Then, so there was a famous case, better Ranganayakama versus Alvar Shetty. In this case, an old man marries the Ranganayakama whose age is 18 years. Subsequently, that old man deceased. Then relatives of this couple, this old man and this Ranganayakama don't have the children. As per Hindu tradition, to perform the rituals, we require the son to complete the cremation. But then they're forcing the relatives are forcing the Ranganayakama to adopt Shashi as their son. Then Ranganayakama said, I don't want Shashi as my son. Then relatives said to Ranganayakama, if you don't adopt Shashi's example, okay? So then relatives said to Ranganayakama, if you don't adopt Shashi as your son, no, we will not allow dead body for the cremation. That is an offense punishable under IPC. As per IPC, we should not stop someone from cremation. Then relatives said, we will not allow dead body for the cremation. Here, even Ranganayakama don't like Sachin. She's adopting because otherwise relatives does not allow for the cremation. Then after cremation, she is adopting the Shashi as the son. Shashi performed that cremation. Then subsequently, Ranganayakama went to court of law. My consent is not free consent to adopt Shashi as my son. Court held that not allowing dead body for the cremation is an offense punishable under the Indian Penal Code. So her consent was obtained by coercion. It is voidable. Then so coercion should be effected on the part to contract a stranger or both. Both. It can be effected on the stranger. It can be on the party to contract also. I am going on the main road. Yes sir, no sir. And Kavya is there and Kavya daughter is there. I keep the gun against the Kavya daughter. If you don't give your gold, I will kill your daughter. Coercion is on the daughter, but the contract is between Kavya and Deshji. Yes sir, no sir. It can be on the party to contract. It can be on the stranger also. Beta, threat to file a case on the false charge. The two types of threats are there, beta. I have a right to file a case on you. I said I will file a case on you. It is a right charge. Threat to file a case on right charge. I have no right to file a case on you, but still I am threatening. That is a threat to file a case on the wrong charge. You are not giving my money. You have to give the money. You are not giving my money. I said if you don't give money by tomorrow, I will file a case on you. Can I file a case? Yes. That is a threat to file a case on the right charge. It is not a coercion. I'm asking, will you sell your land? She said, I don't want to sell my land. Can I file a case on her for not selling land? Still I am threatening. If you don't sell your land, I'll file a case on you. I have no right to file a case, but I'm threatening I will file a case. इसको बोलते हैं threat to file a case on wrong charge. It is a coercion. Threat to file a case on the right charge is not a coercion. Threat to file a case on the wrong charge will amount to coercion. I have a right to file a case. I said I will file a case, not a coercion. I have no right to file a case, but I said I will file a case. It is a coercion. Done. बोलो बच्चों. Threat to next. What is the effect of threat to commit suicide? Chikkam Amaraju versus Sheshamma. Beta. IPC coercion means committing an act punishable under IPC. In IPC, suicide is punishable. Attempt to suicide is punishable. Threat to commit suicide is not specified. Suicide means he was jumping from the building, वो मर गया. So suicide. Next, attempt to suicide. And she attempted. Oh, but fail हो गया बेटा. वो भी नहीं गिर गया. Fan भी गिर गया. वो attempt. Threatening to commit suicide means धमकी दे रहा, I will commit suicide. Barking dog will not bite. Yes sir, no sir. Clear na? He was not committing any suicide. He said, I will commit suicide. उसको बोलते threatening to commit suicide. IPC is silent regarding this. Even it is not specified in the IPC, still it amounts to coercion. It is specified in IPC. It is specified in IPC. IPC is silent regarding the threat to commit suicide. Still it amounts to coercion. So, Chikkam Amaraju versus Sheshamma. What was happening in this case? The two brothers will be there. Elder brother, younger brother. Then younger brother said to his wife, let us give our building to our elder brother as a birthday gift. But his wife is not agreeing. Then younger brother said, if you don't send the documents, I will kill myself. In order to save the husband's life, she was signing. Yes sir, no sir. Then subsequently she went to court of law. My signature is not a free consent. Then court held that Then the brothers are arguing that threatening to commit suicide is not there in the coercion, so it is not voidable. But judge uncle said, when it is punishable, it is also punishable, even it is not specified in the IPC. Even threat to commit suicide is not specified in the IPC, still it amounts to coercion. Chikkam Ammaraju versus Sheshamma. Next, in this coercion ko bolte hai duress in England. In India we call it as a coercion, in England they call it as a duress. Duress will contain only two things. That means unlawful, it will contain only two things. That is committing an act forbidden by the in English Penal Code, threatening to commit an act forbidden by the English Penal Code, unlawful detaining of the property will not be there in the duress. Generally, coercion can be on the stranger also, but duress must be only on the party to contract. Duress cannot be effected on the stranger. Generally, if I am keeping the gun against the Kavya, I am taking her gold. Court will not believe that I am committing like that. I am keeping the gun. Burden of proving the coercion lies on the aggrieved party. Kavya has to prove that Srinath sir is keeping the gun. Then, so burden of proof lies on the aggrieved party. Aggrieved party has to prove the coercion. If she can able to prove the coercion, contract will become voidable at the option of the aggrieved party. If she is proving in the court of law, if she is making it void, so there must we have to restore the benefits received. I am keeping the gun against the Kavya, taking the gold for 10 rupees. She proved in the court of law, I must return the gold. She must return my 10 rupees. Then this is all about the coercion. Next one is the undue influence. Undue means excessive. Undue means excessive. Influence means asking someone to behave in a particular manner. Then beta exact meaning. So one hero, one heroine, Salman Khan said something. You are following the Salman Khan because he's influencing. I said every day, prepare well, but you are not preparing because I'm not influencing you. Yes sir, no. I have to influence properly. If I'm influencing in a wrong way, isko bolte hain undue influence, excessive influence. So undue influence means dominating will of the other person to obtain unfair advantage. Here two parties will be there, beta. One is dominating party, other one is the weaker party. Here dominating party will use his position to obtain unfair advantage over the weaker party. For example, dominating party means master, weaker party means servant. Dominating party means SI, weaker party means constable. Dominating party means principal, weaker party means temporary teacher. Dominating party means lawyer, advocate. Weaker party means client. Dominating party means Guruji, spiritual advisor. He is a disciple. Here, these dominant parties will using his position, dominant position, trying to obtain the unfair advantage over the weaker party. So one constable is there in the police station and the SI. I said to my constable, go to school and bring my children. Being a constable, that is not his duty. I said, if you don't do that, no, I will send you to, I'll transfer you to Naxal's area. Unfair advantage. I am the Baba, SG Baba. If you don't perform puja, you will go to hell. You have to pay money, you have to perform the puja, particular puja. Yes sir, no sir. Then, so here a definition exam mein aata beta, very very important, stars the superstar. Definition. As per section 16(1), a contract is said to be induced by undue influence where relations subsisting between the parties are such that one of them in a position to dominate the will of the other party. One party is dominating the will. Will means wish, icha, korika. Even he is not wishing to do something, but he is doing because of my influence. Dominating party uses his position to obtain the unfair advantage over the weaker party. It is said to be undue influence. Which influence? बेटा एग्जाम में पूछे तो ये पूरा लिखना, ये भी लिखना. Define undue influence, इधर तक लिखना. It is a 4 types. बेटा examples are given by act itself. When there is an undue influence, when the parties to contract stands in the real and apparent authority. Real and apparent authority means by appearance you can able to understand that one is dominating, other one is the weaker. One MLA is there, one follower is there. MLA follower. MLA will be wearing white pant, white shirt, heavy jewelry, heavy body. The party will be there. The follower will be there wearing the ओल्ड पैंट, ओल्ड शर्ट, वीक पर्सन, है ना, देखो तो समझ में आता, बाय अपीयरेंस समझ में आता, दिस वन इज डोमिनेटिंग, दिस वन इज द वीकर. एग्जांपल, मास्टर, सर्वेंट, पेरेंट, चिल्ड्रन, इनकम टैक्स ऑफिसर, assistant principal and teacher, temporary teacher. These are the dominating parties, these are the weaker parties. Then how can we understand? By appearance, by body language itself. Next, where the parties to contract stands in the fiduciary relationship. Relationships based on the utmost good faith. Barose ke uppar rehte relations like trustee, beneficiary, spiritual advisor and his disciples, solicitor, client, guardian, ward. These are the dominating parties, these are the weaker parties. How can we know? Because they are depending on these people by trust. Next, where the mental capacity is affected temporarily or permanently due to illness or age. Doctor and patient. Doctor dominating, patient weaker. We discuss one example also, surgery example, you know? And unconsiderable transaction, bargains and unreasonable bargains like street vendor and buyer. So kg mirchi, for example, kg tomato, for example, 40 rupees, perishable good. It's already 6 o'clock in the evening. The farmer has to go to village from the Hyderabad. I said, I will take the whole tomato if you give 5 rupees per kg. Even it is not possible for him, he will sell. What we are doing there? Unfair advantage over that farmer. Then, beta, in all these cases, these are the dominating parties and these are the weaker parties. Once weaker party filing a case on the dominating party, court will assume there is undue influence. Weaker party need not prove the undue influence. Yes or no, sir? Court will assume. Dominating party has to prove that there is no undue influence. And there are few cases, beta, where there is no assumption of undue influence. In all these cases, there is assumption of undue influence. In all these cases, court will assume that so dominant party is influencing, even weaker party is not proving. But few cases are there. In these three cases, husband is equal to wife, there is no domination. Landlord is equal to tenant, creditor is equal to debtor, there is no domination, there is no assumption of undue influences. Next, what is the effect of undue influence? If the contract is affected by undue influence, contract will become voidable. What about the return of benefits received? It may be available, it may not be available. It is the discretion of the court of law. In coercion, restitution is available, return of benefit is available. In case of undue influence, it may be available, it may not be available. It is at the wish of the court of law. We discussed in depth in the regular class. Next, but in case of the undue influence, once weaker party filing a case on dominating party, court will assume there is a undue influence. Who has to prove? Burden of proof lies on the dominating party. Dominating party has to prove that he has made full disclosure of the facts to weaker party, the price is adequate, and weaker party is competent and independent advice, and transaction is reasonable. Who should prove? Dominating party. There is no influence. Yes, I am dominating, she is the weaker party, but I am not taking unfair advantage of my position. Who should prove? Dominating party. Next, contract with Pardhanashram women. So Pardhanashram women is a lady who observes a complete seclusion, which means who does not show her face to society as per the customs of the region or the religion. Generally, she is supposed to be uneducated, illiterate and innocent. Generally, court will assume that if any person enters into contact with a Pardhanashram women who is innocent, the transaction is deemed to be affected by undue influence. Other party has to prove that there is no undue influence. And ये exam में आता है बेटा coercion versus undue influence, very very important. Coercion versus undue influence important from exam point of view. 3-4 बार आया बेटा, ये पढ़ना बेटा. Clear? Next concept is a fraud. మోసం, ద్రోహం, అన్యాయం, అక్రమం, కుట్ర, ధోకా. क्या है बेटा? धोखा. So what is a fraud? Parties to contract intending to do something but done something else by error. Sorry. It's a false representation of the fact made willfully to deceive the other party. What is this beta? False representation of the fact made willfully to deceive the other party. Then, but ये लिखे तो एग्जाम में मार्क्स नहीं आता बेटा. ये डेफिनेशन है बेटा अंडर सेक्शन 17. ये लिखना, fraud means and includes following activities. What is the following activities? ये 5 activities 1 2 3 4 5 इधर तक लिखना एग्जाम में डिफाइन फ्रॉड पूछे तो following activities committed by a party to contract, that means I am committing with his connivance. Connivance means helping someone to do wrongful activity. What is this? Helping someone to do wrongful activity. Who's doing the fraud? I am doing the fraud. I am helping someone to do the fraud, or fraud is done by my agent. Who's doing the fraud, beta? Me only. Or I am helping someone to do wrongful activity, or my agent is doing the fraud. Kisko? To deceive another person's agent, or inducing him to enter into contract. Inducing means influencing in wrong way. Yes sir, no sir. And what are the following activities? That is the suggestion as to fact which is not true by one who does not believe it to be true. I gave an example. It is ordinary pen, but I am representing it as a Gandhiji pen. I am not believing it as a Gandhiji pen, but I am representing it as a Gandhiji pen to deceive other party. That is a fraud. Next, active concealment of the fact by having the knowledge thereof. There are two concealments are there in the law: mere concealment or active concealment. Mere concealment is not a fraud, but active concealment is a fraud. We have discussed one example also. But one chair is a rare chair, Tipu Sultan chair. Well, unloading the chair from the lorry to showroom, वो गिर गया बेटा, टूट गया, and he was that shop owner is keeping the Fevicol, is attaching again, but the crack is visible, so no one is purchasing the chair because crack is there, and shop owner is not telling that there was a crack. It is a mere concealment. It is not a fraud. So since no one is purchasing, he is applying that wood color, so crack is not visible. इसको बोलते हैं एक्टिव कंसीलमेंट. मेयर कंसीलमेंट इज नॉट ए फ्रॉड, एक्टिव कंसीलमेंट इज अ फ्रॉड. नेक्स्ट, any promise made without any intention to perform it. I made a promise but I don't want to perform that. That is a fraud. We discussed this guy. Who is him? Ranbir. He said, sweetie, I love you, I will marry you only. Cutie, I love you, I will marry you only. Puppy, I love you, I will marry you only. Naughty, I love you, I will marry you only. He is making the promise to so many people to marry, but he don't want to marry anyone. It's a fraud. Last one. Next one. Any such activity omission law specifically declares to be fraudulent. One act is there, like Electricity Act, like Banking Regulation Act. This act says if you're doing this thing under this act, it is a fraud. We discussed about the check under Banking Regulation Act, giving the check without balance, that is a fraud. And using the electricity without having that connection is a fraud under Electricity Act. Done na beta. Last one, any other activity fitted to deceive. So you're doing something, your intention is to deceive the other party, that is a fraud. इधर तक लिखना बेटा, एग्जाम में डिफाइन फ्रॉड बोला तो. नेक्स्ट, essentials of the fraud. It must be committed by a party to contract but not by a stranger. There must be false representation, and we have discussed this case law also beta, that SG Artist Gallery, ये एग्जाम में आया गुड़ा, ये भी एग्जाम में आया, रेगुलर क्लास में we discussed. So every month what he said to the buyer of the shop, every day counter will be 1 lakh. But the fact is the counter will be 1 lakh only in the month of the November, December, January, February. Then this case like came in the exam beta. Next, false representation must be fact but not the opinion. It must be false representation from everybody point of view, not only from your point of view. And if I'm making the false representation, if you're not believing, that is not a fraud. If you're believing, if you're deceived, then only it is a fraud. And you must be incurring some loss. No loss, no fraud. Next, effects of the fraud. Valid, voidable at the option of the aggrieved party. Remedies available to aggrieved party, very important. 10 stars. Practical question आता बेटा, ना direct question. Practical exam में आता. So in case of the fraud, there are 3 remedies are available to aggrieved party. First one is that he can sue for the damages. He can sue for the specific performance. I want Gandhiji pen only. I want that article only. Even you give me 10 crores, I don't want. You have to perform the contract as it is specified in the agreement. Agreement में क्या लिखा वो देना मेरे को. So you can sue for the damages. You can sue for the specific performance. You can rescind the contract also because you are the aggrieved party. But you can't rescind the contract in the following 4 cases. Very important. First one, where the aggrieved party has the means of discovering truth by ordinary diligence, common sense. With common sense, you can able to identify the misrepresentation. You can't rescind. We have discussed a famous example in the question exam. कौन सा वाला one car is there? Speed that petrol meter is working, fuel meter is working. Fuel meter showing it is 10 kilometers, but I said 20 kilometers. Can you rescind the contract? No, because if you have common sense, you can see. In being a driver seat, being sitting in the driver seat, you can know no better. Fuel is showing only 10 kilometers per liter, but how much I said? 20. Can you rescind the contract? No. Occasion exam mein aaya beta. And ignorance of the fraud. You don't know that I made a fraud. Can you rescind the contract? No, because you don't know that I made a fraud. Next, if you're taking the benefit under the contract after realizing that I made a fraud, instead of rescinding, you're taking the benefit under the contract, selling it to third party. You cannot rescind the contract. I remember all these things. We discussed the example for every point. Last one. Which example I gave here? That muskmelon and cucumber seeds. So, if the parties to contract cannot be restored to original position, then we cannot rescind the contract. You can claim only for the damages. And each chapter in this chapter, this one is very important. Star, superstar, star, mega star, 5-star, 10-star. Whether silence amounted to fraud. This question came in the exam more than 10 times. Generally, silence does not amount to fraud. Silence is not a. Being a seller, we will not disclose the defects in our goods. So, if seller is silent regarding the defects, that is not a fraud. Generally, silence will not amount to fraud. But silence will amount to fraud in 3 cases. One is the parties to contract standing in the fiduciary relationship, like parent and children, like contract of insurance, contract of marriage, contract of family settlement, contract of allotment of securities. In these cases, it will amount to fraud. We discuss one example also. One horse is there, beta. Is insane horse. I am selling it to Kavya. Kavya is asking, sir, how much is a black horse? I said 1 lakh. She purchased for 1 lakh. I never said it's a insane. Whether I made a fraud? No. If she's my daughter, it will become the fraud. The same question came in the exam 4 to 5 times. And second one is the where silence is equivalent to speech. ये भी exam में आया बेटा. Kavya said to me, Srinath sir, if you remain silent, आप कुछ भी नहीं बोले तो, if you remain silent, I'll assume it is a sane horse, but I remain silent. Then it will amount to fraud, because I should tell Amma Kavya it is not a sane horse, it is an insane horse. Then next, half truth will amount to fraud. We discussed a lengthy example for half truth also in the regular class. Next, misrepresentation. Which representation? Misrepresentation means innocent false representation without any intention to deceive. See, I know it's an ordinary pen, but I said to Ishwar as a Gandhiji pen to deceive him. That is a fraud. So Ishwar is believing it is a Gandhiji pen. He's selling the same pen to Shashi as a Gandhiji pen. That is misrepresentation. Here, intention to here intentionally false representation is there. Here, innocent false representation is there. And here, intention is to deceive other party. Here, intention is not to deceive other party. And here, you can claim damages. You can claim damages. Here, you cannot claim damages. You cannot claim the damages. Misrepresentation and fraud are the 90% same. Then the difference are, it is a intentionally misrepresentation, innocent misrepresentation. Intention to deceive other party, not to deceive other party. He can, aggrieved party can claim damages, aggrieved party cannot claim damages. Then beta, questions are here. We discuss one question beta, one example we discussed, very important, the same example. This example, what is the example? So I am selling the car to Aditya. So for 10 lakhs rupees, I don't know, there is a problem in the engine. After selling the car, after 4 months, he came to me, Srinath sir, you said car is fine, but after 4 months, the car is not working properly. There is an engine problem. It will cost you nearly 4 lakhs. I said, I will bear 40 lakhs, you bear 60 lakhs. 60%, I will bear 40%. I just said, okay. I am giving 40%, he is giving 60%, so our car is working properly. Again, after that, subsequently, after a few months, it stopped working. Can you file a case on me? No. Because I said car is good condition, you purchased. Whether I know there is a mistake in the car? No. इट्स ए इनोसेंट फॉल्स रिप्रेजेंटेशन. सेम क्वेश्चन एक बेटा देखो 40%, 40%. Clear? Next, fraud misrepresentation means false representation of the fact made innocently without any intention to deceive the other party. Next, when it comes to definition of the misrepresentation, ये definition है बेटा, ये पूरा लिखना एग्जाम में, ये पूरा एग्जाम में लिखे तो 4 मार्क आते बेटा. Definition of misrepresentation. Misrepresentation means a positive assertion in a manner not warranted by the information of the person making it, which is not true, though he is believing it to be true. One false information is there, I am believing it as true information, I am telling it as a true information. I am not, though he is believing it to be true. Wrong information is there, I am believing it is right and I am telling the same thing. And any breach of duty, I am making the breach, but my intention is not to deceive other party without any intention to gain the unfair advantage and without any intent to mislead another. Yes, I am making the breach of duty, but my intention is not to deceive, not to get unfair advantage, not to misguide you. Causing, because of my wrong information, you are getting some problem. Causing, however, innocently. Yes, I am giving wrong information, but I am giving wrong information innocently. It is said to be misrepresentation. So we discussed a lot about this definition in the regular class, but I can't explain everything again in the revision. So essentials of the misrepresentation: it must be committed by a part of the contract, but not by a stranger. There must be false representation, and intention of the false representation is not to deceive other party. It must be fact but not the opinion. The objective is without any intention to deceive the other party, and you must be actually deceived because of the false representation, then only it is a misrepresentation. Effects of the misrepresentation: you can sue for the rescission, you can sue for the specific performance only. You cannot claim the damage here. Here you cannot claim the damages because the person making the false representation also innocent. That's why he is not liable for the damage. ये भी पूछते बेटा एग्जाम में कभी कभी फ्रॉड वर्सेस मिसरिप्रेजेंटेशन. एंड द लास्ट कॉन्सेप्ट इज द मिस्टेक. ये क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में 1-2 बार आया बेटा, नॉट दैट मच फ्रीक्वेंटली, 1-2 times आया. What is the meaning of the mistake? Mistake means parties to contract intending to do something but done something else by error. They want to do something but they did something else by error. क्लियर है बेटा? कुछ तो करने का सोचा था, कुछ तो हो गया. So it is a erroneous belief regarding something. Erroneous means wrong belief regarding something. So ये देखो बेटा ऐसे रहता है चार्ट पूरा. 2 types. Again this will be 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 5 types. Now, so mistake is of 2 types. Mistake of law, mistake of fact. Mistake of law means parties to contract fails to understand the logic behind the section. Section is there. Section का purpose आपको समझ में नहीं आ रहा, इसको बोलते हैं mistake of law. We discussed about the alien, enemy and minor. Mistake of law 2 types beta. Mistake of Indian law, mistake of foreign law. Unable to understand the logic behind the Indian law, Indian act, that is not voidable. Mistake is valid, you will be punishable. Mistake of foreign law, you need not know all the laws in the world, so it is treated as mistake of fact. Treated as mistake of fact. Mistake of fact means fails to understand the reality. I gave the pen example and murder example. Yes sir, no sir. So parties to contracts fails to understand the reality. It is 2 types: bilateral mistake, unilateral mistake. Bilateral mistake means both the parties to contract are under a mistake. It is 2 types again. Bilateral mistake has to both are under a mistake, you and me. 2 types: subject matter, possibility of the performance. It is impossible to perform, we both are thinking it is possible to perform, it will be void ab initio because it is impossible as per section 10. Subject matter. Subject matter means I am entering into a contract with you for sale of this remote. This remote is a subject matter. We discussed about the horse, very very important है ना. Bilateral mistake as to existence of subject matter, void ab initio. We both are thinking horse is there, but horse was deceased. It's not there, it's not in existence. We both are thinking it is existence, void ab initio. Quality, we both are thinking horse is a race horse, but the fact it is a cart horse. Both are under a mistake, void ab initio. And quantity, number of horses 100, but the fact is there was only 70 horses. We both are under a mistake. It will be void ab initio. Price of the horse 4745, 4764. It will be void ab initio. Actually, he's selling the my horse to me only. The broker in the market selling the horse to me, who I am the owner already. Yes sir, no sir. Identity, void ab initio. And unilateral mistake, only one of the parties under a mistake. The contract is perfectly valid. Because you are under a mistake, that is not my fault, no. Contract is perfectly valid. But two exceptions are there. Even it is unilateral mistake, it is void in two cases. One is the nature of transaction. We discussed one example. One old lady signing the sale deed, thinking it is a mortgage deed. Since there is no meeting of the minds, it will be void ab initio. You want to enter into contract with Ram, but entering into agreement with Lakshman. It is a identity of the parties. Ram, no, he is not a Ram, but I don't know that he is not Ram. Yes sir, no sir. It will be void ab initio. With this, we have done with the pre-consent. Done. So remaining part we'll see in the next class. In the next class, we'll do the scanner. Have a great time. Enjoy the day. Prepare well. SG signing off. Take care. Done.